everyone, Pratima here. So for the past 2 weeks, I have been daily driving the new OnePlus 12 and the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Both of these phones coincidentally were launched last week and I have been testing them side by side. Here, the OnePlus 12 is a much more affordable phone. In fact, it's $500 cheaper than the S24 Ultra in the US, whereas in India, the OnePlus 12 costs exactly half, which is just insane. And if you look at their specs side by side, you will not find a lot of differences either. Of course, the new S24 Ultra is all about AI now. You get a ton of AI features like circle to search, real-time translations during voice calls, and some cool photo editing tricks. However, if you look past that, I genuinely feel like you are not missing out on a whole lot with the OnePlus 12. Okay, first off, let me talk about the designs of these two phones. Interestingly, OnePlus has adopted a strategy similar to Samsung and iPhone by maintaining a consistent design from one year to the next. I think this is a good move actually, as it helps to retain the brand identity better. As you can see, the OnePlus 12 looks very similar to the OnePlus 11, but OnePlus has definitely improved in terms of weight distribution this time, while the camera module looks more refined too. This curve on the back, coupled with a relatively compact and narrow form factor, also helps with the grip, especially when playing games in landscape mode. Matter of fact, I like OnePlus's hands-on feel more than the sharp and boxy form factor of the S24 Ultra. But of course, the S24 Ultra has its own advantages, like you get a more robust titanium frame versus an aluminum one on the OnePlus 12. It's also layered with the new Gorilla Glass armor protection up front, which is less reflective than OnePlus 12's Gorilla Glass Victus 2. Likewise, the OnePlus 12 only comes with an IP65 rating versus S24 Ultra's proper IP68 dust and water resistance. But to compensate for that to some extent, OnePlus has added this cool feature called Aqua Touch, which makes the display responsive even when there's water on the display. And it will definitely come in handy during those rainy days when you're outside and have to use your phone. Alright, let's now talk about the displays, and this is the aspect where I don't see OnePlus being inferior to Samsung in any way. You know what? The OnePlus 12 actually has the brighter display of the two, since this guy can hit 1600 nits of all screen brightness compared to S24 Ultra's 1300 nits. It can even go up to 4500 nits in an HDR scenario, while the S24 Ultra maxes out at 2600 nits. Plus, you also get Dolby Vision support here, which is still missing on Samsung phones and even TVs to this day. What's even better here is that you get high PWM dimming of 2160Hz on the OnePlus 12 as well, which means when you're using it with low brightness at night, its screen does not flicker as much as the S24 Ultra. So if your eyes are sensitive to those flickerings, chances are you won't have headaches and eye strain when using the OnePlus 12. This is actually a pretty neat feature that a lot of Chinese smartphone manufacturers have been offering for the past few years, whereas Samsung and Apple still seem to be neglecting it. But of course, the S24 Ultra's display is excellent in its own way. I mean, just look at these bezels. It's almost non-existent compared to the slightly thicker bezels on the OnePlus 12. Plus, I am someone who prefers a flat display, so I find S24 Ultra screen more practical than the curved one on the OnePlus 12. The fingerprint sensor on the S24 Ultra is an ultrasonic versus optical one on the OnePlus 12, so it's a bit more dependable and does not even need to light up to read your fingerprint. That's actually not a big deal, I would say, but it's a slight quality of life improvement anyway. On that note, I honestly love the vibration motor on the OnePlus 12. OnePlus has improved it by a lot this year, and I think it's better than the one you get on the S24 Ultra. The OnePlus 12 speakers are also pretty darn good for its price. It's not as loud as the S24 Ultra, but the quality of both these speakers is excellent. The S24 Ultra does have a slight edge in terms of overall treble and instrument separation, but OnePlus's implementation is a very close second. Alright, performance-wise, both these phones bring top-tier Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset with base 12GB of LPDDR5X RAM and 256GB of UFS 4.0 storage. OnePlus claims that they have the biggest vapor chamber cooling system on a smartphone, whereas Samsung has practically doubled the vapor chamber size from last year's S23 Ultra. After testing both of these phones side by side, I found their cooling capabilities to be pretty neck to neck. Both of them don't throttle that much and they don't overheat either, even after like 30 minutes of Genshin Impact gameplay or a full hour of 4K video recording. Okay, as far as software is concerned, OnePlus 12's Oxygen OS feels slightly more fluid to me since it's lighter than Samsung's One UI, but the S24 Ultra is no slouch. So you are actually going to enjoy the experience on both of these phones. With Samsung, it does have those AI perks that I mentioned earlier, and you also get an S Pen, which can be a useful tool to have for a lot of things like taking notes, doodling, and more. Now, talking about the gaming side of things, I found both of these phones to perform neck and neck with similar thermal results. Genshin Impact runs at a stable 60 FPS here at the highest of settings, whereas you can also enjoy smooth 90 FPS gameplay on PUBG Mobile on both of these phones. But if I have to nitpick, I found the gyro sensor to be performing slightly better on the OnePlus 12. OnePlus also has collaborated with Pixelworks to include a dedicated visual processor this time, which enables two interesting gaming features. The first one is called Adaptive Frame Boost, which can boost a game's FPS from 60 to 120, while its hyper resolution feature can upscale the game's render resolution for more detailed graphics. I didn't find that adaptive frame boost thing to be working on a handful of games I tried though, but when turning on hyper resolution in Genshin Impact, I was indeed getting better visuals. It only works with a limited number of games now, but things look quite promising. Another advantage that the OnePlus 12 has, at least on paper, is that you also get a slightly bigger 5400 mAh battery here versus S24 Ultra's 5000 mAh unit. But since both of these phones are quite optimized, I do not find that much of a difference in real life usage, and it really just depends on which apps you're using. On the charging front though, the OnePlus 12 is a clear winner since its 100-watt wired and 50-watt wireless charging is miles faster than what Samsung is offering. OnePlus has also borrowed Oppo's battery health engine technology here, which features a battery management chip to ensure prolonged battery lifespan and less overheating when charging the phone. Plus, we have seen from Jerry Rig's teardown video that it has a dual 2700 mAh cell for better heat dissipation. Alright, the cameras. So with OnePlus phones, the one major complaint I've always had before was its cameras were always meh. I mean, they were good for the price, but OnePlus's cameras weren't exactly in the same league as other flagships. But this year, things look very promising indeed. You get a new 50-megapixel LTY-808 primary sensor, a 64-megapixel telephoto lens capable of 3x optical and 6x lossless digital zoom, and finally, there's a 48-megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens. This is actually the same camera setup as the more expensive OnePlus Open. The S24 Ultra, on the other hand, has a 200-megapixel primary camera, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens, a 10-megapixel telephoto camera with 3x optical zoom capabilities, and an updated 50-megapixel periscope lens that can do 5 times optical zoom. To be honest, before testing them out, I was pretty sure that history would repeat itself in Samsung's favor, but to my surprise, that wasn't always the case. I mean, look at these photos side by side. OnePlus has greatly improved in terms of dynamic range and overall image processing. I did find OnePlus trying to brighten the shot a bit more to make it look appealing, but I will not complain because most of the time that worked in OnePlus's favor. You can see there are plenty of details in both Samsung and OnePlus's images, sometimes a bit more in Samsung's photos, but the way OnePlus has held up is quite something. The only area where I think OnePlus could do better is color processing. Although the OnePlus 12 produces nice looking images most of the time, it occasionally tends to take too warm or too bright images, while Samsung's color balance is spot on consistent. When it comes to handling human subjects in the 3x portraits, I found the OnePlus 12 processing the image to make it look social media ready as well. I am not going to lie, I would gladly upload the OnePlus 12's images on Instagram without any edits. Samsung, on the other hand, tries to keep things natural with very little processing, which results in good images sometimes with nice skin tones, even if things turn out kind of dark and contrasty every now and then. I will give it to Samsung in the bokeh department though. The kind of natural blur that the S24 Ultra can produce is just wow, while OnePlus 12's blur tends to look overbearing at times. I would have loved to see a 5x portrait lens on the OnePlus 12 since it has a capable hardware, but sadly that's not the case. Coming Coming in 2024, almost all flagship phones come with 5x portrait options, whether it's the Oppo Find X7 Ultra or the S24 Ultra or even the Vivo X100 Pro. So 5x portraits, it's something that I missed on the OnePlus 12. During nighttime though, it's the OnePlus 12 that takes the crown for me. I really like how it's able to preserve the essence of the night sky with the right amount of contrast and black levels. Like daytime images, the photos are a bit warm, but they actually complement the overall aesthetics, while Samsung's cooler tones during nighttime do not always seem eye-pleasing. Details in nighttime images are better on Samsung's S24 Ultra though, all thanks to its larger 200 megapixel sensor. Likewise, ultra-wide-angle images during nighttime are also better on Samsung. S24 Ultra is also able to maintain better details and sharpness, and not to mention the images have a wider field of view too. And not just in nighttime, but even during daytime, Samsung tends to produce better ultra-wide-angle images most of the time. The 3x zoomed images are very close from both the phones, while zooming in up to 5 times or more, Samsung's capabilities are slightly better because of its dedicated 5x lens. Selfies are also something OnePlus can improve upon. It has a wider field of view than Samsung, but the images turned out a bit smoothened and not as natural and pleasing as Samsung's. I really appreciate that OnePlus has added 4K 30fps video recording support in the front camera though. There's no 4K 60fps option like the S24 Ultra, but the 4K 30fps output is smooth and nice. And even when put side by side with the S24 Ultra, I am sure you will not complain about OnePlus's quality. Talking about videos, both these phones are able to shoot 4K 60fps videos from their primary ultra-wide and telephoto lenses, but Samsung's output is a bit more smooth, and the S24 Ultra is also able to maintain better dynamic range, highlight control, and colors. OnePlus's output is good too, but the slight edge that the S24 Ultra has is clearly visible. Overall, I feel like what OnePlus is able to achieve with the OnePlus 12's cameras for the price is remarkable. I did not miss my iPhone or the S24 Ultra while I was testing out the cameras of this device, which goes on to show just how much OnePlus has worked on this department this year. There are some nitty-gritty things that OnePlus needs to work on, like shutter lag, which is much less on the S24 Ultra, or the ability to switch between lenses while shooting videos, and a little bit of optimization and consistency here and there. But these things don't happen in a day, so I am willing to give OnePlus the benefit of doubt. So there you have it, guys, my full comparison video of my two favorite Android phones of 2024. The OnePlus 12, in my opinion, is a true flagship killer with very little compromise this time around, whereas the S24 Ultra is clearly a killer flagship that money can buy. But honestly, I am super impressed with what OnePlus 12 offers at half the price of the S24 Ultra. The only thing that I've missed here is IP68 rating, since I trek a lot, especially in the Himalayan region, so that IP68 protection does give me a better peace of mind. I also missed that 5x telephoto lens for portraits because I've been quite used to taking 5x portraits these days. But overall, I am super impressed with the OnePlus 12. I was honestly expecting its cameras to struggle quite a bit, but OnePlus has actually done a fantastic job. So if you're on a tight budget and if you want a proper flagship phone, you can definitely go with the OnePlus 12. You will not be missing out on a lot here. So everybody, that was all for this video. I hope you found it useful to make your purchase decision. And if you did, don't forget to hit thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Saying this, I'm Pratima, and thank you so much for watching.